Like looked at the test and the test looked at me, and I looked at the test and the test looked at me, and we just looked at each other, and I was just like, hey guys, it's Baetasticx here. Thank you guys for tuning in. And today I'm going to come to you guys with a story time about myself. Yes, this is another, I guess, pregnancy related, baby related video. So if you guys want to not watch this video, tune out and go check out my natural hair videos and my other videos. Show them doing some love, you know. But I'm going to tell the story of how I, found out I became pregnant. So basically, guys, it has always came on quite regular in a sense since I became, I got on birth control. I was on birth control at the end of my, senior year? No, I got on birth control. No, I was on birth control at the end of my senior year. So I started, I'm sorry guys, my cat is like fighting himself on the bed, but sidetracking, sorry about that. But yeah, once I was on birth control, I started on the pill. I didn't have a good experience with the pill, so I ended up switching to the patch, and then I didn't have a good experience with the patch, and this is how we got here, when I was like, yeah, I'm kind of just done with birth control right now. So basically, when I found out I was pregnant, I was up at school, and it was like one of those moments where it was more so like, you know how you take a pregnancy test, but usually it ends up being negative, and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm stressing myself out, that's the reason why my period didn't come on. I think my period was about 3, I think it skipped a week, and I was nervous because I was like, all right, I don't know, but that's more so like, I'm not pregnant, I'm just gonna take one, just to clear my mind about it. And the reason why I decided to take a test was because I'm pretty sure my period was, I think it skipped a week, but it was kind of normal because with me coming off birth control, my period was only 4 days. So it wasn't like nothing crazy, So one thing that really made me want to buy a pregnancy test was literally my boobs were hurting so bad, guys. Like, it was to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting a breast reduction. Like, it was so bad to the point where it was like, if I moved my shoulders or anything, it was like, it was hurting the sides of them underneath. And it was just a pain that I never experienced before. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on with my chest. Like, I don't know if it's like my period's coming on. Because, that can be a sign of your period coming on. But I was like, it never happened to me before. So that was like really odd for me. So I can't exactly remember the date, but it was in February. I think the date that I found out would be on the text message that I show you guys. But I ended up buying, early that week before I decided to take a test, I ended up buying pregnancy tests on Amazon just because I was up at school and I had no way of getting to a store to get birth control. I mean, not birth control, a pregnancy test. So I have Amazon Prime, Student Prime, so it came in 2 days. So once they came, I still waited because, I was still nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope not. But, I don't know. So, still waited a little bit for my period. Then I was just like, one morning I was like, take it, because you're supposed to take pregnancy testes. Supposed to take pregnancy tests in the morning, because that's when your HCG levels are the highest, and that's how you can detect early pregnancy quickest. Highest, that's when it's good to take it. So it's more so better to take it in the morning to get early detection. So here I am, waked up. I was like, about to take this test. Grabbed the test, went in the bathroom. Literally was thinking I'm just gonna pee on a stick and it's just gonna tell me negative. I'm just gonna be fine. So it's gonna be I'm gonna be fine. Guys, I sat down. I peed on the toilet. I peed on the stick. Put it on the floor next to me because it was laid them flat. And literally, as soon as I'm getting up, finishing peeing and wiping, I looked down, glanced at it. The first line for the pregnancy line was super dark, and the other one was filling up to show the second line. So I looked at the test, and the test looked at me, and I looked at the test, and the test looked at me, and we just looked at each other, and I was just like, oh snap. My pregnancy test, the one that I found out I was first pregnant on, And literally the let me see if I can really explain this. The first line that's like the darkest, that was the pregnancy line, and that's the line that comes up when it's negative. So you guys see how dark my lines are, even so that it's still, you know, dried up and it's like old, and I put the date and the time of it. And at first when I saw it, I was like, you know, you get that gut-wrenching feeling. I didn't cry or anything when I found out I was pregnant. It was just more so like a shock factor, and I was like, dag, like I need to figure out like what I'm about to do. So I didn't really believe the first one, even though my lines were super strong. So I went back and I looked up. It was like, well, you know, if you get a positive, you still have to keep taking some just to make sure that it's actually a real positive, because sometimes it could be chemical or, you know, anything. So the next test I took was at 12:02, because, you know, again, guys, I took some time, you know, thought about it. I'm texting like my best friend. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm pregnant. Like, can you come up here so I can go get some prenatals? Like, I want to make sure like everything's okay. So on February 3rd at 12:02, I took another one just to make sure. And you guys see how strong those lines are. Like, it was the same. And then it came up so quick. So that's what was like freaking me out, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm really pregnant, like, Lord. And still, again, I'm like, you know, maybe my pH is strong midday. I need to take one later in the day. So here is another one that I wrote down. The time was for 4:00 p.m. on February 3rd. And again, this line is super freaking strong. Like, all of them back to back. There was like basically no denying that I was pregnant. Like, I could show my son and be like, yep, like you was a sticker, like you definitely found I was pregnant. My best friend came up there because I was up at school, and she took me to supermarket so I could get prenatals. And, you know, we talked about everything, and she was like, you know, am I keeping it? And I was like, yeah, that's one thing I knew, was that I was going to keep, you know, him. Now I can say like my son. There was no doubt in my mind that I wasn't going to keep him. It was just so much at one moment, and like I just was thinking for the future wise, like, OMG, this is like so much like to do, but I know I'm gonna be able to do it, like, you know. So when my boyfriend at the time, what was he doing? What was he doing? I think we talked on and off, but like I was trying to figure out how to tell him, because again, guys, I was up at school and he was back at home. So I was super nervous to tell him, and I think I was gonna wait till the next day, but then I was kind of like around like 11-ish. I was like, no, like let me tell him. So he was hanging out with his friends, and he wasn't texting me back fast enough. So, you know, I'm the type of girl to be like you need to give me attention, especially like when something like I was just, you know you have so much built up like anxiety. So like if the person's not like text you back fast, and it's like you're trying to tell him something, even though like he didn't know like I was going to tell him that. So literally, I think text him, and he wasn't texting me back fast enough. So then I just got really pissed off, like sitting there. So I like grabbed all the tests, and I like took a picture and was like, since you don't want to pick up your phone, this is like what I had to tell you. My boyfriend was supportive, which was really good, and made the, you know, the whole situation so much easier. Like, that's one thing I am grateful for him, because he has made this experience easier. Even though we fight and all that, you know, no relationship is perfect, and when you do have a child with somebody and you're going through amount of like stress in a sense, but so many things at once, you guys do end up, you know, fighting and bickering. But we finally got to the point where it's like we talk about things, and we don't dwell on things that are not as big as other things. Like, why fight over something so little when we should be like, when you need the time to fight over something huge, and we don't have huge problems. So it's like how I found out I was pregnant, and how I told my boyfriend, and how we are here today. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, share your guys' story, how you found out you were pregnant. Were you scared? Were you nervous? Like, how are you feeling? It's like a really big step that you will never forget ever. Like, I always remember that story, even though mine is kind of like I found out by myself in situations, and you know, I was by myself in the situation. But it's like one thing I knew was that I can't say I'm ready to be a mom, but I'm ready to learn how to be a mom. So super excited about that. So again, thank you guys for watching. This has been Baetasticx here. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. Again, saying the same thing. I repeat myself a lot, so don't get mad. And I just appreciate you guys, so thank you guys for watching, and I can't wait to keep coming back with you guys with some videos. It may be pregnancy related just because that's what's consuming my whole life at this moment. But yeah, thank you guys.